Hello, I'm Scott Stephen, Goldsboro City Manager, here for our May 2014 update. I guess spring is really here. It came and went through February and March, but we've rolled in, and this week's 80 degrees, and we're filming here on Election Day. So with that said, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our Parks and Recreation bond. We've talked about it in detail in previous updates. I think I'll skip that for today, except to say that the early voting numbers were very good for City of Goldsboro residents. I hope that the voting numbers are good today in terms of people coming out. And whichever way the recreation bond goes, whether it is a yes or a no, I think it'll be a good representation from our community. That's what the community wanted. And so I'm excited about the possibilities either way, that we'll be addressing what the majority of those in our community would like for us to do as a community in meeting those recreation needs we'd identified over the next 5 years, or really meeting them over the next 25 years, depending on how that goes. So I'm encouraged that we've had the numbers we've had and look forward to seeing the results again, whatever they might be. Where we spent a lot of time as a city government and staff the last month has been working on budget. It is that time for most local governments in North Carolina. Goldsboro's schedule is departments submit those to our finance department in the January-February time frame. April, finance department, the manager's office work with departments trying to understand what's in the request, with the intent of us submitting a proposed budget to our council in early May. And we did submit the proposed budget May 5th. We did that at their work session on May 5th. So the council has that. We will schedule a budget work session likely the week of May 12th. We haven't got that date finalized yet, and with the hope of adopting a budget sometime in early June. Budget public hearing is on May 19th, and so if you would like to look at our budget and then come make any public comments, I would encourage you to do that. Our budget, or the proposed budget, will be on our website and available for you to look this week, so you'll at least have access to that information. Overall, our budget is moving from a $52 million budget to a recommended $54 million budget, and while that sounds like a significant increase, there are not significant increases in our operational costs, so those costs are very much the same as last year. We've detailed what some of those differences are, but the majority of the difference in a $52 million budget to $54 million budget is equipment that we're recommending purchasing with a loan, meaning we would borrow the funds so our revenues would go up that year because of the loan funds. And we're recommending borrowing for a fire truck, which is $500,000, for a street sweeper, which is $200,000, and then for fully automated garbage trucks, converting from semi-automated to a fully automated truck. And again, all that equipment together totals around $1.9 million in a loan. So that is the bulk of that $2 million increase. And we've listed some other reasons or some other increases in the budget. But I don't want you to be too excited as a community about us going from 52 to 54 without understanding that is a temporary increase because of a loan, and then that will drop back down in the next fiscal year, or should drop back down. So more to come in that. Our council priorities, again, reaffirmed at the retreat we held in March, was greenways, encouraging private development or development downtown, particularly private development or new private investment, parks and recreation, and the community appearance. And so we've tried to address that as much as possible within our recommended budget that we've shared with council, and more to come on that as we discuss that through the month of May. We've had a couple of things going on with our Tiger projects, and a little bit of confusion between Tiger 5 and Tiger 6 and which grant we have and what we're refinancing and how those things are working. With the Tiger 5 grant, the grant that we received, $10 million from the federal government last September when we were awarded that, we've been working with the FTA, or Federal Transportation Administration folks out of Atlanta, to administer our grant. We're very close to having the grant agreement finalized. The projects are out for bid. Again, it is the next 3 blocks of Center Street. The streetscape work, it would turn and go down Walnut Street and do some improvements along Walnut Street to Carolina Avenue, circle Union Station. It will do Union Station site improvements, and it will build the Gateway Transfer Center. All of those projects are out to bid. They went out in May. We will be opening bids at the end of May, or middle to end of May, on all those projects. And so we'll be presenting them to council for award in the June time frame. When they go for award, and once they are awarded, it will still take a month or two before the contractor will actually go to work on site. By the time all the documents are signed and materials are ordered and the contractors get there. So the community should start seeing work downtown late July, early August at the soonest, and maybe as late August. And again, that is 3 blocks of Center Street. That'll be one contract. Expect to have that awarded in June, and you'll see work or should see activity in downtown late July, early August. It will do the next 3 blocks down to our police fire complex. A separate contract will be awarded on Walnut Street to do the streetscape work down to Carolina Avenue, and then a separate contract will be awarded for the transfer center and gateway or Union Station site improvements. So all those are in the process and coming along very nicely. We're also talking about borrowing money. We've always talked about borrowing our local match of almost $4 million, and we went to council in May with a request to borrow $4.5 million, trying to include a refinancing of City Hall Annex, Paramount Theater, and then our police complex as collateral for our local match. And again, we are working through that process. So as you see activity about borrowing $4.5 million, that is related to this Tiger project and trying to incorporate facilities that would entice banks and get us a good interest rate. And we have received proposals from banks with very attractive interest rates that we're working through the process with our local government commission and our council to secure that financing and be able to fund these projects as we've discussed. The other Tiger grant application, which has gotten a little more attention through the month of April, was a Tiger 6 grant application requesting funding primarily to renovate the Union Station train station. It would also complete the last 2 blocks of Center Street, meaning those between the police fire complex and Elm. They're the 2 one-lane blocks with very little development along each side of that, and also re-establish or rebuild Cornerstone Commons, expanded it to have some permanent shelters, to have a spray ground, to have a little better meeting space, to have a permanent stage, to have some restrooms involved. The Cornerstone Commons part of that is about $1 million. The streetscape work on the last 2 blocks of Center Street is not near as involved as these first 4 blocks have been. It seems like that's about $2.5 million, and the Union Station's the balance of that. Turns into a $13 million project. $10 million grant, if approved, would require $3 million in local funds, and we would again borrow those funds. We are not borrowing those funds ahead of the grant. If we are awarded the grant, we would then secure the funding following the grant award. And we would expect to hear, typically it's been 3 to 4 months after the grant deadline to hear about a grant award. So we would expect sometime late summer, early fall to hear if we were awarded funding for the Union Station, last 2 blocks of Center Street, and the Cornerstone Commons or the Tiger 6 grant. So more to come on that as we hear on that. The last big item I really want to touch on for this update is health insurance. We've had at least some coverage on that, and our employees have a strong interest in health insurance. The city is moving from a self-insured model to a fully insured model. Our council approved that last night. We're staying with the same provider, which we bid out a year ago, which was Cigna. We've talked about employees paying for insurance, and the recommendation is employees would pay $50 a month for insurance, so the city employees will be paying for insurance coverage. We will give city employees a $50 raise, and although it looks a little funny to do that, it sets them a couple of reasons for that, in my opinion. One, it doesn't penalize any existing employees who their whole career have had free insurance through the city. So for those employees, there'll be no financial impact. For new employees, there will be a financial impact. They'll earn whatever our minimum or whatever our entry salary is, and then they will pay $50. But for those coming to work for us, they'll know that coming in versus trying not to make the employees that have been here feel like they're penalized. For our existing employees, although that $50 a month will not result in any more take-home pay if they're on our insurance, it does move them further away from our minimum salary. So the person that starts after June 30th will make a little bit less than the person that was here before June 30th, and that sometimes is a problem in government and compression of salaries. It will also help our current employees in that they will, whatever we make in terms of our annual pay, does help in our retirement pay once we leave city service. So it will help all employees in that, even though it doesn't immediately help them with additional take-home pay. But again, our employees will be paying at a minimum $50 a month for their health insurance beginning July 1st. The other thing we've talked about with the Employee Benefits Committee and our City Council is charging for behavior-related activities. And we've had 4 areas that we've talked about. We've shared that with employees a year ago, so I hope this won't come as a real surprise to them. But we are going to charge our employees if they don't do things or if they do some of these. One, if they don't get a physical or do a health risk assessment or do blood work, so we can sort of see what kind of issues we might have within our group, they would pay $12.50 more per month. If they are a diabetic and they don't participate in a diabetes management program that the city's offered, and we have about 70 diabetics, about half of them participate in the program, half of them do not. Those that do not would pay an additional $12.50 a month. If they're not willing to get a primary care physician, trying to give them somebody to call when they're sick versus going to an ER, they would pay an additional $12.50 a month. And then if they're a tobacco user of any type, they would pay an additional $12.50 a month. So if employees choose not to do any of these things that we're trying to encourage, they would pay $100 a month for their health insurance. If they do these four things and take the right action there, they would pay, again, that $50 a month. And those are significant changes for our employee base, and so we'll be communicating that with our employee groups through the coming month. The other significant change is we've currently had a plan with a $1,300 deductible. That is changing to a $2,600 deductible. Our benefits committee recommended that, not because they liked it or thought it was a great decision. They just understood financially what that meant to the city by not changing, and they didn't see a better choice than to do that. So I don't want to mislead anybody and tell you it's great news. It's not awful. The city will still have good insurance for its employees, but our deductible limits are increasing, and for our employees that will be a negative. And my goal will be to try to help them understand why that increase is going on. And the last item related to health insurance is we will provide an opportunity for employees if they want to pay a little more towards that deductible. They can do that up front, and we would match that up to $300 per year. If they pay $300, the city would put in an additional $300 to help them meeting their deductible. So those where the deductible is a real concern, there will be an option for them to pay a little more and have the city match some of that to help them along with that. So significant changes for our employee group. Maybe not as big an impact on the community, but at least you'll know where our employees are in terms of health insurance and what they're experiencing and going through. I would like to mention two things that occurred in April related to parents in our community, and one very hands-on in terms of trash pickup. We did ask for employees and really tried to get them to volunteer from their regular duties to come out and pick up trash for a couple hours one morning in April. Our Public Works Department put that together. We had about 60 volunteers, covered a lot of the city in a very short period of time, made it look, in my opinion, significantly better. Still a lot of work left to be done in those areas we picked up trash. Need to be picked up again, but for that week or month following that, it looked a lot better. And I do want to thank the employees that were involved in that and our Public Works Department for coordinating that. And then just recently, we had a group of downtown volunteers, about 40 or so, come into downtown and pick up trash in that area. And if you haven't participated in one of those activities, I would certainly encourage it. What you see on the shoulder of the road is just a start. Once you start picking up a little bit of trash and you get looking for it, there is a lot more there, and really something we all ought to be aware of and doing more of to clean up Goldsboro, as well as aware of and not throwing trash and litter outside of our vehicle, because most of what we're picking up on city streets was intentionally thrown. It didn't just blow out of a vehicle or blow out of the back of a truck. Somebody threw it out, and that's unfortunate. We've got to change that, and it really takes all of us working to beautify the community to make that better. But those were two significant activities in April. I do want to thank those that participated in that, and likely we'll do that another time. It's a time of year where we move into a lot of outdoor activities, and I know I'm not going to attempt to list most of them, but I would like to mention a few milestones and then send you to a place where you can find out all the activities going on throughout the city. It is time for our Center Street Jams to come again, and we've been doing that for many, many years. May 15th is our first one. The location has changed. Where we had been down further south on Center Street, we are moving to the John Street parking lot, so just a block south of City Hall. Due to the Center Street construction that will be going on later this summer, we will be in the John Street parking lot, so please come join us. The first one is May 15th, 6 to 9 o'clock, and I believe Spare Change is the band up for May 15th, and then it will occur every other week following that. So the schedule is available through our Downtown Goldsboro Development Corporation website or city's website. You can get that information. I'd also like to mention the farmers market. We have two locations where we'll have activity this year. On Wednesdays, beginning May 14th, they'll be at Herman Park near the tennis courts. Again, that's where they've been the last several years, running through most of the day on Wednesdays, but again, beginning May 14th. And then the next, I guess a new activity for us, at least in recent years, is we will have a farmers market again downtown Saturday mornings beginning May 17th. So I would encourage you to visit our local farmers and buy some produce and support local businesses, and also have some fresh fruits and vegetables as they ripen. So May 14th you can do that at Herman Park Center. May 17th you can begin that downtown in Cornerstone Commons. For a complete listing of activities that we update on a daily basis, visit our Facebook and website. are ongoing there in terms of what is going on in the community, and it does change from week to week and day to day. So please, if you're looking for something to do, I think you can find it there if you'll spend some time on our website. A lot of activities in Parks and Rec and summer camp programs coming out and available, so I would just encourage you, if you have kids or interest, whether you're a senior or somebody that has children or maybe grandkids visiting for the summer, there would be something for them to participate in, and I would certainly encourage you to get involved. As always, we're here to serve. I would send you to our website if you have questions. There's a lot of information there that we try to make available. There's a citizen request tab on that front page of our website that sends an email into my office that we will absolutely respond to or get it to the right department to respond to. I've mentioned our 311gis.com. You can go there and report non-emergency type things and sort of track the progress of potholes or other things being repaired. And as always, you can call my office at 580-4330, and we'd be happy to work with you anytime. So if we can be of service, again, please reach out. Enjoy May, be safe, be outdoors, and again, we've got a lot of initiative of Go, Wayne, Go and moving people around, and May's a great time for that. So get out and enjoy the weather, and we'll see you soon.